You are listening to the It's Your Time podcast, and I'm your host, Certified Life Coach Michelle Arnold Burke. In today's episode, I'm discussing being intentional, your future self, saving time, and amazing skincare with Li Huo. Welcome to the It's Your Time podcast, the podcast where busy professionals like you get the practical solutions and support you need to gain control of your schedule so you can strive to be the best in your career, but without the stress and overwhelm. If you're looking to increase your energy and decrease your stress, you are in the right place. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the podcast. Here we are with another one of our amazing March lineups. And in case you forgot, my birthday is this month, and I thought it would be so much fun to give you a gift each week and share conversations with powerful women who can help you in a variety of ways. And today, I'm sharing a recent discussion that I had with Li Huo, a board-certified gynecologist who pivoted to her lifelong passion of running a med spa aesthetics practice. She has always loved empowering women, totally my jam, as you know, in a variety of ways, and now devotes her energy to helping women create and maintain a no-fuss, wallet-friendly skincare routine so that you can have healthy, glowing skin. Her unbiased opinions and suggestions are backed by scientific medical knowledge, experience, and straight up passion. She wants every woman to buy skincare products, adapt the home methods and facial rejuvenation procedures that work for you with confidence and intention so that you no longer fall prey to marketing ploys, viral videos from influencers and celebrities. And she had so much great information to share. You will be so amazed at the connection between skincare and how we do so many things in our life. So without further ado, please take a listen. I am so excited to get this conversation started. I watched your video earlier this morning and I've already learned so much. Can you maybe just begin by telling the listeners a little bit about yourself, introduce yourself, and any goodness you see fit to share?
Sure. Good morning. Hi, everyone. I'm happy to be here. My name is Li Huo. My journey has been a little convoluted. I started out, I guess my main career is an OBGYN, and I practiced for about 15 years. And I stepped away from that to pursue med spa aesthetics practice, which I also held and practiced. What happened was COVID came, and that kind of changed the way I did business. My partner wanted to get out of the field. She sold a lot of the machines that I was using. So I really had to pare down on what I offered as a service. But again, with COVID and the pandemic, I actually shifted my business to online and I presented to people's homes. I'm in Los Angeles. There's plenty of clients who would like people to go to their homes instead of them going to the office. And so that's what happened. And during that time, I also found coaching and what powerful tools coaching can do and transformation and how it really applies to women and how we look at aging, how we look at the fine balance between vanity and taking care of ourselves. I found was very interesting. And so now I spend my time, I could still have clients that I help to take care of for their skin and consultations. And I do a couple of procedures, but the bulk of my work is online to teach and to basically provide a personalized online service for anyone who wants me to take a look at their products, go through what they're using, and see what their goals are. And I help them reach that goal for their skin
Yeah,
virtually.
and I think that some people may initially see the title of the podcast and think skincare. This is about time and excelling in your career without the stress and overwhelm. But the first time that you caught my ear was at a coaching meeting where you talked about how it should be okay for us to want to look good. So I think it's so much more, and we've talked a little bit about this, than skincare, right? So I think for the listeners, we often are talking about ways to increase empowerment for ourselves. Can
Absolutely.
you maybe talk a little bit to that?
Yes. So I'm going to back up a little bit. So in seventh grade, I'm going to paint you a picture too. I'm from a family of immigrants. We did not have a lot of expendable income. In fact, sometimes we were short of money for important things, utilities, etc. But in seventh grade, I distinctly remember this. My mother took me to a department store, to the Elizabeth Arden counter, which is actually sort of a classic. Elizabeth Arden, for those who are of age who remember that, bought me a jar of cream and said, "You should always take care of your face. You should always take care of your skin." From that moment forward, I knew that if they can sort of put any money that they had towards my skin, that I was worthy. And there's self-love in there too, right? That money is obviously superficial, but when you are sort of putting it somewhere like in skincare, this shows importance of it. And so throughout my life, I have always taken care of my face. And what that means is just washing it and, putting on moisturizer at night, etc. There's a morning routine with sunscreen. But what it taught me was, and so as I went through medical school and residency, funds were not always abundant, you know, but what I allotted my budget to was always towards quality skincare. I would rather skip buying a coffee, a drink in college, clothes, you name it, shoes, so that I can have quality skincare. And that's a commitment, definitely. And the commitment of the actual act, the habit, right? How many times do we as busy people, I've been there, where you're like, too busy. What do you mean go wash my face? What do you mean put on a night cream? That's just like, what is that? But I've committed, right? So even I have very fond memories, maybe not so fond. I'm being a little sarcastic. During residency, when we're in random hospitals, because you just rotate wherever, or in medical school, you actually, back then anyways, you don't have access to private bathrooms sometimes either. But I would literally take my little bag of stuff, go into a public bathroom, use paper towels as towels to like wash my face. It didn't matter where I was, it didn't matter what I was doing. Even as a postpartum mother, when all the days and the hours blurred together, it was a commitment of, nope, I'm going to take care of my face. It was like one moment in the day that I almost felt like this is for me. And it took 5 minutes. It wasn't that long. Of course, there are things that you can do to make it more elaborate, but for me, that is plenty. And if you're in the habit of doing that, that's self-love. And I think sometimes we get all caught up in, well, I don't want to be vain. I'm spending money. That's not where I want to spend my money. I need to put my money towards my kids, something more worthy. I understand that. But I'm not talking about perfection, right? I always say this, we're really basically doing what is within our control. I can never change the shape of my face. I'm sure of plastic surgery, but I'm not interested in that. I'm like comfortable enough of self-acceptance that I bring out my nose, whereas before I would never talk about my nose, but I can't stand the shape of my nose. I can't do anything about it. And that's okay now at my age. But what can I do? I can absolutely take care of my skin. That is within my control. That is something that I know if I start taking care of it today, that 10 years from now, I'm going to look the best today, but I'm also going to look the best 10 years from now. And there's a chance and this is completely doable, that I could preserve the face that I have today. Because a lot of clients that I have at first are like, it's too late. Why don't you even bother to start? What's the point? Well, why do we start anything at any age? Fitness, right? You're not going to get a six-pack ab, but we're still going to go walk. We're still going to do sit-ups if we want to. We know we're not going to get a six-pack ab. So again, it's not about perfection with skincare either, about taking care of your face. I'm not saying I'm going to be wrinkle-free. That's just not possible. I'm not trying to do the impossible, and I have very realistic views. But could my skin look the best that it can? Absolutely. And by doing the best that I can, is it possible to minimize the number of wrinkles? Is it possible to perhaps allow the time span of wrinkles? Can we put that off a little longer? Absolutely. Could my skin look glowing and dull even at the age? I mean, could it look glowing instead of dry and dull at age 60? Absolutely. And that's the piece that I really emphasize is, yes, it's skincare, but behind it all, it's self-love and it's self-worth, and it's a commitment to a future you.
Absolutely. And I think as listening to you, that's exactly what I thought, that this is the idea. And I always talk about this when we talk about self care. It's not always massages and bubble baths and some elaborate thing that people have this vision of. It is literally taking 5 minutes to just take care of yourself. And when people say, I don't have time to do that, that speaks volumes to how much of a priority they are making themselves. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think about a shower or brushing your teeth, right? Like, I think our teeth is so ingrained in us that we don't think 2 seconds of it, but it is absolutely health. It is absolutely taking care of ourselves, because who wants dentures at age 45? Who wants, I mean, I can't even name all the disease, the dental disease. I'm not familiar with
Like,
them because
I was
I'm
an
like,
OBGYN, not a dentist.
right, because I'm like this with like, I'm so afraid of dental. I'm like, I'm miss like brush my teeth, floss my teeth, go see my dentist. I'm
Yes.
very vigilant
Total
about that.
side note, I would much rather go see my OBGYN than my dentist any
Yeah,
day.
I know that's how I feel, but right, it's like a necessary thing that we have to do for ourselves. You know, so something as simple as like taking a shower, I know is so that you don't want to smell, so you can be presentable. But there is a self-care component in there
That's a
that
great
you feel
point.
better after you shower. I mean, not all the time. I get that, but a lot of the times. And so it's almost like this moment, like a 5-minute moment to exhale. I'm just going to wash my face, zone out anything else, put on these creams that I know is going to do something for my skin. It feels good. And I know I'm doing something.
And I think what you're saying is so important. It's you keep saying 5 minutes. Like sometimes I think people think it's going to be like such an elaborate process and you keep saying 5 minutes.
Exactly. Because this brings me to another point. Like anything we do in life, we need to be intentional. So, what I teach my clients is, what are your skin goals, first of all? And if you don't have any, let's just talk about that. Number two, how do we get there? There are certain things that we should be using to get to where you want to be. So, that's intention. So, when we go out into the marketplace, let's be intentional and buy products that speak to that problem that you would like to solve. Because I don't know about you, but when I go online and when I go in the Elta, Sephora, or Nordstrom's, I am bombarded. My sensations, I'm bombarded with, this is good for your skin. You should do this. You should buy this. You should do this. And you get sort of like, it's almost like a smoke screen of marketing ploys that you're like, wait, what? What? Oh, okay. And then you come home with stuff. You're like, I don't even know what happened because I was supposed to do this. Is this supposed to be good for that? I don't even know. And so intention is really important. So, I think that's also important with routine, right? Right now, there are a ton of, you guys sell devices, but there are home devices that are very appealing to, oh, you should get the gua sha, you should get the jade roller, you should get the pore vacuum, you should get the new face, there's all sorts of stuff. But you got to like sort of strip it down and really be like, what am I hoping to accomplish with this home device?
Mm.
And that's how you move forward. Otherwise, we're subjected to quite a bit. And even with finances, there are cheaper versions of things. So then I see people trying to find cheaper versions, thinking that that's what they need, and then they use it twice and then they throw it away, or it just sits in the bottom of a drawer, never to be seen in the day, light of day again. And so
Yeah.
that's why like intentions super important. Um, yes, sorry.
I think I think that's a great point because as you're saying that, I'm thinking the people listening are super goal focused. And I don't think I've ever asked myself, what are my goals around skincare? I just like put on whatever my sister says, like she tried, and then I move
Right.
forward.
Right. And that's a lot of us. It's like, so who do we listen to? We listen to influencers. If you listen to dermatologists, and that's awesome. I applaud that. The actual professional, that's great. But that's not most of us. Most of us listen to influencers who are actually, they could be skincare influencers, but a lot of time they're fitness or their fashion. Companies have paid them to use something and they have gone forward and said, oh, this is great. We listen to like our sister or family, hey, this is great, go try it. Our colleagues, oh, okay, run out there and get it. And then I have clients that literally have 3-4 bottles of the same type of stuff, and yet not
Mm.
something that's actually important. So I'm going to just back up a little bit and just explain to you that one important etiology for aging. We have collagen in our skin in the dermis layer. The dermis layer is like a deeper layer. It's not the top layer that you see. So collagen is what is a protein that gives us structure and strength. It is in other parts of our body. I'm just speaking about skin right now. And so I want you to think of an inflatable air mattress. Think of the air as the dermis with collagen and elastin. Elastin is another protein that's important to us because it gives our skin elasticity. So if you notice when we're younger, when we smile, and then as soon as we stop smiling, our skin goes back. And when we get older, the skin kind of sticks a little. Do you get what I'm saying? Like it stays a little creepy. You're like, what happened? I got to push it back in place. That's elastin. That's the protein elastin that gives your skin the elasticity. And along with hyaluronic acid, which is a sugar that retains water and gives you that sort of supple look, all three are in the dermis layer. So think of the inflatable air mattress. And the air that's like keeping the top of the air mattress taut is the collagen, elastin,
Mm.
hyaluronic acid. Okay. As we age, that air escapes. So then the top of that air mattress sinks. That's what happens with our face. That's the wrinkling process. That's the fine lines. And that's how, as we get older, the same wrinkles actually deepen because more air has escaped out of it, meaning we have less and less collagen. We have less and less elastin. And so I'm just going to talk about collagen just because it's easier instead of referring to all three molecules. But, and so a lot of the skincare products, of course, consumers don't know this. The bottom line is to stimulate collagen production. It's in a lot of the in-office procedures. In fact, some of your medical device reps probably sell lasers of some type. A lot of times it's to stimulate collagen production. And so that's what it's really geared and aimed towards. And there are ways to protect your current collagen. So, after age 30, we lose 1 to 2% of collagen every year, Michelle,
Oh,
after age 30. And then perimenopause, menopause, first 5 years, we lose 30%. 30.
I need
That's
to
a
get
lot,
some air in this mattress.
right? And so that's the whole goal of skincare. But I don't think people understand that, right? Is to what products will stimulate collagen production. But they won't say that in the label. Like you have to really know what you're doing. Or a lot of them say collagen cream, which that's a lie because collagen, you can't put collagen on your face and have it like penetrate and become collagen. And collagen supplements, I get a lot of questions about this. That's why I'm jumping ahead and just sort of talking about it already. Collagen supplements, as far as the skin is concerned, also does not help you build collagen in your skin. It gets broken down your stomach and that's the end of it.
That
Now, I'm
is
not
what I
going to
learned
comment.
today, this
Huh?
morning when I was watching your video. I take the collagen powder and I was like, oh, I'm not supposed to be. That's not helping the skin.
You can take it. I'm not so sorry. I don't want to bother you. Oh my God, what did she say? No. And honest, I don't know its effects on other parts of the body. It's like people take it for sometimes people, even though it's collagen, people say it helps with their nails and their hair. I'm not here to, argue about that. I'm talking specifically about the skin. That if you think that you're taking supplemental collagen by mouth and that is enough for you to build collagen in your skin, that is simply not the truth.
Yeah, that
So
is so interesting.
that's all I'm addressing. So once we know, the other thing, the reason we have more dryness and loss of glow too as we get older, there's a whole process just called cell turnover where we know all of our cells in our body gets regenerated. There are dead ones and the body clears it away. And so on our skin, same things happen. And so what happens as we get older, that process of cell turnover where the new cells come to the surface and the dead cells get sloughed off, if you will, so that you have that glow, that whole process completely slows down. And then so what we end up doing, Michelle, is we put on a bunch of products on our dead skin. We're just rubbing the dead skin cells around. and then we keep moisturizing, oh my God, my face is dry. I got to keep moisturizing. Well, all you're doing is moisturizing dead cells. And it's just like, it's not doing anything. What we need to do is stimulate the cell turnover process. We need to sort of peel off the top dead layer or use products that will help you. I love that word, slough off the dead
Sounds
cells.
very glamorous.
Because, yeah, so not only that, your new cells get to come to the surface, but your products will also work better. The products that you've invested in, they're like, oh, I know this is a good product for me for A, B, C, and D reason. Well, let's let it actually work and penetrate through the tons of dead cells. Let's get rid of that so the products actually work. So there's
Yeah.
that component too for skin. So collagen, stimulation of collagen production is important. Protecting current collagen is important. Minimizing sort of environmental factors that can damage collagen is important. And then, of course, increase cell turnover. So those are the bases of skincare. And sometimes I think that's too much for people. They're like, that's too sciencey. Just tell me what to use.
And that's why they can call you, because you can tell them. But I have to imagine there also has to be a component of consistency in doing this work.
Yes, I hear that quite a bit too. Oh, I used it, didn't work. What did you use and how did it not work? Right? I mean, yeah, it's like fitness, right? Or weight loss or healthy or strength or push-ups, sit-ups, whatever you do. We need to be consistent and we need to put the time in. And I think it's especially hard. I see this in my children, like they want to do something once and already be an expert in it. And so, no, I have to say, like, for example, for example, I'm 50. I started taking care of my skin at age 25 as far as using a certain antioxidant, but I started taking care of my face in 7th grade. That's every day since the age of 13. That's consistency. That's dedication. Now I don't want to scare people off by saying, oh my God, well, it's too late for me. I'm 45. No, because you could start today. It's like health. If you start today, there's definitely some benefit. It's like stopping smoking. The minute you stop, there are benefits. And the longer you go without smoking, the more benefits there are. And the risks, sorry, I'm not now going to medicine, but the risks basically revert back to someone who's never smoked. And so there's absolutely, you need to be consistent. So this is what I really want to highlight. Some people don't get high quality products. They go out and buy some random stuff that says that they'll help with wrinkles, help with whatever they claim. I think pigmentation is a big one, dark spots. They'll use it for a month and they'll be like, it didn't work. Well, yeah, it took how many years for that spot to come up? Well, by the time you see it on your face, it's 10 years in the making of sun damage and all this stuff. You have subjected your face to 45 years of sun damage and you expect to use one product for 1 month and you expect all of these things to be reversed and gone, all the while battling current like gravity and current environmental toxins and sun rays and damages. It's just, that's not reality.
Realistic.
Yeah. And it's just like fitness, same thing. You're not going to get a 6-pack ab if at age 45 you decide you want to do sit-ups. It's a comprehensive approach. It's continued diligence and a trust and a process. I do believe that you do need to reuse the right products to see changes. So that's the piece. I think sometimes they use the wrong product. They're like, oh, they're all the same. Well, they're actually not quite the same. Something that is poorly made with not as potent doses of things is just not going to work the same as something that is more potent, that has, higher percentages and has been shown by scientific research to work.
And I think that's important to note because my understanding is that you do not sell products. You explain from a science background and your own personal experience, like what those best products are for each individual client. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct. So because I think I've always had a passion for skincare products. So I go out there and I'm one of those people. I actually buy quite a bit. But part of that is for me, is for my research. I'm like, oh, they claim, but again, when I buy the product, it's not random. It's a very intentional oh, I'm going to buy a product because it has this new ingredient that just came out that's supposed to be helpful with, hyperpigmentation. And I like this product because it has 3% of this, 5%. So there is actually analysis that goes into it, but I do buy multiple similar types of products. Really, it's to compare and contrast. And I buy them at different price points. Again, compare and contrast. If I could get something for $50 instead of $150 and it works just as well, hallelujah, I'm all in. Let's go. And so that's why I do that. But I am not affiliated with any particular company. No one's paying me to say that their products are good. Now, do I have favorites? Absolutely. And because I am a carrier, or I'm a registered seller for that, I carry two companies. So do I make money because I sold a product? Yes, of course. But I decided to carry those products because they were good, not because they approached me to ask me to carry it, if that makes any sense.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And
I
so,
think
and there's quite a few, I think in your world, you totally understand. There's quite a few companies that are what we call cosmeceuticals or medical grade products. They're not quite prescription, but they're not quite over the counter. They're sort of somewhere in between. And they usually, classically, they've been carried by physician offices or basically licensed, sellers. They have to get permission from the company. A company has to verify that you're a physician or some type of skincare specialist before you can carry those products. But what happens is the online world is so powerful that they started selling counterfeit. So there's a lot of counterfeit stuff out there, believe it or not, or offices who did carry those, but some things have expired. So personnel will take it back and resell it. So
Oh.
I just want to caution those. I mean, and you know that from selling medical devices, there are copycats left and right from different countries. So there is that phenomenon. But because the online space is so powerful, these companies do now directly sell to the consumer once you know about it. But in the retail space, it's still a physician's office. And most of the time, it's physicians who do know about it who tell their patients and clients about it. And that's how they know. And then there are certain online stores that do carry the legitimate versions of these products.
And I think we've touched on some of the things that I know are important to you: being intentional, knowing that it's never too late, being consistent. And I think this is all in an effort. When we think about like it's never too late, we're kind of looking at it's never too late for our future self, right? Can you maybe speak? I love all of our future self work. How do you
Yes.
tie that into like skincare
Oh,
routine?
absolutely. So I have a client who's around 70, and she literally said that to me. She's like, I've never done anything until the last couple of years, and I'm not even sure what I'm doing. And so she's like, what's in it for me? Like, why do I even care? I said, well, because what if you live to 95? That's 25 more years. I
Right.
mean, what if you could just look the way you look today at age 70 and 95? I say that's a pretty good accomplishment.
Right.
Right. And so I think that's what we need to also keep in mind when I talk about future self. So right now, I'm, like I said, 50. I can thank my past self for all the work that she did.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not even work. It's like I said, 5 minutes a day of like, let's just pause, wash my face, put on my lotions and potions, and let's move on. And I just today, because I've seen the results of my past self, I am even more invested into my future self. If I could look the way I look today at age 70, frick, that's a
Right.
miracle.
I know. And the listeners can't see you, but if you guys could see her face, her skin is amazing. It's
Thank you.
there's so much, because I think it was important for my mom too. She always, back then, she did Mary Kay. I'm sure
Yes,
she probably still does Mary Kay, but she was
yes,
definitely like the routine was there. And so I have the habit, but what I haven't done is kind of learn the research of what you're speaking to and knowing like what I should be using versus just like, hey, have it or whatever it is, on that particular
right.
month, and change it out, change it out, change it out instead of being intentional. That's so
Yeah,
important.
but I think that I think the fact that you already have the habit is very important. It's like you're basically there. All you need to do now is like switch out the products and make sure that you're using, because this is the other point I tell people. It's like, because you dedicate time, even if it's 5 minutes, it's still time, right? And consistently over years, it's time. Then why not use the most potent thing that you can use, so that's not like you're getting the most out of your 5 minutes.
Yeah. And a lot of times when I'm, doing this podcast, I always think, because I'm 48, I'll be 49. And I always think, I wish I knew, especially since learning all the coaching tools, I wish I knew all this stuff earlier. So that is my goal. Like, younger people listening, don't wait until my age, right? Like, start it now so that you can build that habit. And then again, your future self thanks you.
Yes. And it's such a, it's at first it just seems so abstract, but again, I think the idea in health and in fitness is very clear, right? Like people are like, I'm going to exercise so I can minimize my risk of heart disease. I'm going to minimize my risk of diabetes. I'm going to, because I do, but with skincare, people don't think that way. There's a lot of sort of societal messaging that it's vanity. And, but I don't know about you, but when I see someone who has great skin, I know they take care of themselves.
That's a great point. I was just going to say, yeah, do you think I feel like there's so much societal messaging, especially for women, like, don't be too much this, don't do that. So I feel like
Right.
there's this back and forth of like, take care of yourself, but after you take care of everybody else.
So I do want to speak to this a little bit. First of all, the definition of vanity is sort of excessive focus on oneself. It's something to that. It's something about excessive emphasis on one's appearance, or caring about one's appearance, excessive, right? And what I want to ask is, who gets to decide what's excessive? Does
Yeah.
society get to decide that? And why? Why do they get to decide what's excessive for yourself? So if you're the one who's deciding, then you can choose that it's not excessive.
Right. And I think when we are self-hating on ourselves about whatever, you talked about health and fitness. So if it's about our weight, if it's about our eating, if it's about, then we are actually obsessing probably more about ourselves than if we just had a simple habit of 5 minutes washing our face and putting on some
Yes,
cream.
right. Or yes, absolutely. And I this is the funny thing though, about, oh, you shouldn't do too much. Like, oh, what she's done lately. Oh, she doesn't. But we also talk about the woman or the friend. Oh, she's let herself go. Oh, she should be
Yes.
doing something. I mean, what is happening to her? Right. So it's like we can't win either way. So let's just
Absolutely.
decide right now. I'm going to take damn good care of myself. Oops, I'm sorry. I don't know if I
No,
can
that's
swear.
good. We're
I'm,
cool with that.
and how that shows up. Yes, it shows up in many different ways, but this year I'm going to dedicate to spending some time on my face and really being intentional about what I want to use. I'm not saying I want to spend 20 minutes on my face, and that's totally fine, because you can have beautiful skin without spending 20 minutes on your face every day. Once in a while, it's kind of fun to do it. Like, I like to do a fun mask and a scrub, and I do like to do that once in a while. And that's fun, but that's different, right? That's just like, I know that I'm going to do that, but I don't have to do that. I know that there is an absolute essential way. There are products that I could use, and it'll help me accomplish my goal.
Yes, I like that. I'm going to take damn good care of myself. That might be a quotable. Have we missed anything? I feel like we've talked about so much: the science, the empowerment, the intentionality, the consistency, the future focus, and it's not too late, but also get started, right?
Yeah, so I have a 13-year-old and a 15-year-old. The 15-year-old's a boy or a young man, and he takes care of his face because he's got acne, but because he takes care, he has very little now, and he could see the results. My 13-year-old is dedicated to a routine. And so I would say it's never too late to start, and it's never too early to start.
Oh, that's a great
of a
point.
routine. When you're younger, you don't need a lot of potent stuff. We don't need to do too much. Just simple, wash your face. You make sure you use a sunscreen. That's actually really great if you're, under the age of 18 and you're already doing that. That's probably the best piece of advice for younger people. But as we are over the age of 30, then we start to need to add things. And then when we are 40, we need to be a little more assertive.
I need to be a little more assertive. Yes. This has been so much fun. Where can people find you?
So you can follow me on Instagram at Coaching with Lee. I have a lot of posts and reels about things, and that's the best way to stay in touch with me. I'm very responsive on DM. On Coaching with Lee, I also offer a video, the 3 things you should be putting on your face,
Highly
which I believe.
recommend.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I think it's valuable for people who are just starting that journey or who are not quite sure how to get started. And I feel like that's a good starting place. And if you're already doing those things, if you're already putting on those 3 things, then another way to work with me is to just schedule an audit and a consult. And the audit, I go through all of your current products that you're using, toss out the ineffective ones, and then keep the ones that are good stuff. Now, I don't believe in actually tossing out products. You could reallocate it to your knees, to your elbows, to your heels, to your neck, to your décolletage. I always make a big joke. I was like, I have the most well moisturized and collagenized knees ever. Okay, that's where all my stuff goes, is on my knees. So
That
yeah,
is
so that's
great.
that's a chance for us to work together, and I streamline your routine for you, and then there will be some, if there are pockets of where you're missing something essential, I would make those recommendations.
That's so good. And we'll have all of your links in the show notes for sure.
Yes, that would be awesome.
Thank you so much. This has been so helpful.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm so happy to talk about anything about skin and empowerment, anything like in that topic.
Perfect. Wasn't that great? I really learned a lot from our short time chatting, and I love that she stresses the importance of not wasting money or time. It can be super simple. Maybe it's just one new habit or simply improving a bit on your current routine in order to help out your future self. Help a sister out, right? And if you're ready to start getting help, be sure to check Lee out. All of the links are going to be in the notes. I would love to know what you came away with. And I have to be honest, for me, I had no idea that vitamin C was so important for your skin. So please share, tag me on Instagram at Michelle Burke Coaching, and let me know what you're going to start or stop doing. Okay, that's what I have for you today. Take what works, leave what doesn't, and let's meet back here next week for another opportunity for transformation. Make it a great day. Take care. Did you know you can take this work to a deeper level with me one-on-one? Go to michelleburkecoaching.com and click on Get Started to begin.